Take a moment to see Rebecca's video pick of the week. Go to YouTube and subscribe to the Rebecca Costa YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Costa Report. I'm Rebecca Costa, and my guest is antivirus pioneer John McAfee. And before the break, we were talking about the difference between the public image that you have and the truth of your situation, and how the YouTube video was an attempt to make fun at how ridiculous these characterizations with. And as I mentioned, you have millions of YouTube viewers and a book being written about you, and I understand they're also making a movie about your life. But I know that you are an inventor at heart. And once an inventor, always an inventor. So what are you working on right now?
Well, up until recently, I thought I would never be able to work on any invention or any technology again. The image of myself as a madman, lunatic, paranoid, whatever, a drug-addled person would make it a marketing nightmare to try and sell whatever I had developed. However, it's something odd about people in general. I think we don't give people enough credit for being able to see through things. At some point back in June, I was watching myself and interviews in the press, and they were finally, ending up saying, "So that was that interview with McAfee. He certainly is a crazy fellow." And yet, I was looking, going, "I don't think I said anything crazy." And then all the comments were the same. Like, "I don't think he was crazy. He sounded very sane to me." And then 4 weeks ago, the InfoWorld Europe did a survey. Tech Week Europe did a survey of all of its thousands of users, and asked who they would like to see replace Steve Ballmer as head of Microsoft. And lo and behold, thousands of votes later, John McAfee beat out everybody. I was 5 points ahead of Bill Gates. And that's
so. Have they called you? Has Microsoft called you yet?
No, of course not. This is the readers of.
Well, what do you mean? Of course not. They just ran a focus group study.
They did?
Yeah, that's what that survey is. It's a look. Let's put it into marketing language. That was a focus group study, and they said we like Microsoft a lot better if you make McAfee the head of it.
Right. Well, that's exactly what they said. Unfortunately, I went on CNBC the following day, and they said, "What would your first move be?" I said, "I'd fire everybody."
Oh, I would fire almost everybody. I would fire anybody who'd been there for more than 10 years. Number one, because it's become archaic in its thinking, and it's because for so long there was only one thinker in the company, and that was Bill Gates.
So I don't think, having stated that they will ever call me and ask me. What it did.
Well, now I know you wouldn't fire everyone because you're too nice.
Right, I would not, and I was being facetious by and large, but I think it was a scary thing for me to say to the Microsoft employees. I wouldn't, but there are some people who really do need to be reassigned. They, put into softer jobs that have less impact. So let me say that.
That's right. You've always been good at sort of creating what we used to call a skunk works. Inside a large corporation, you were very good at putting together a small, like, Navy SEAL team and getting them working really hard and long hours on a specific project.
Right, and that's my forte. I'm capable of doing that, and I enjoy doing that. And I think the people that work with me on those projects are very highly motivated and love what they do. And the secret is learning how to do that within a stagnant bureaucracy, and I do know how to do that. But the thing that shocked me was it just was so sudden. I'm going, whoa, what? The world really is crazy. A month earlier, the entire press had said, this man is over the hill, he's lost it, and now, the readers are going, we'd like to see McAfee in charge of Microsoft. Well, quite frankly, I would be bored silly in that position in charge of Microsoft.
Well, I have to say this. To me, the fact that people voted you to be the head of Microsoft is a good sign, because it means people aren't listening to all the junk on the media. They're using their brains and thinking for themselves, and that's a good thing. But I can't let you off the hook here. What are you working on next? Because you didn't answer my question, and I'm going to come back.
You are going to come back. And so what I'm working on is something I've been thinking about for a couple of years now, and that is we are losing as a society, at least from my own perspective, a huge amount of our privacy and our security. And to me, I think privacy is central to a sane society. In a society where everything that we think and do is known by everyone else, well, that's kind of scary. It's scary because we are not perfect humans. And no matter how benign our thoughts and actions may be, they will offend someone. This is certain. And so we are granted privacy so that when we close our doors, we can do the things that appeal to us, our hobbies. We can use the language that we prefer to use. We can do things with our wives and our friends that maybe, we just don't want the world to share. Not that we're doing anything wrong or anything we're ashamed of, just like, why should everybody know? Or maybe I'm developing something that I do not want my competitors to know. Privacy gives us the capacity to have our own identity in a safe environment.
But never before has it been so under assault. We even have warrantless surveillance going on by the government.
Yes, and that's a scary thing, because the government are the people we have voted in power to give us a culture in which we can live.
They're supposed to protect our privacy.
Well, according to me, they are. They're supposed to protect lots of things they're not protecting. And that frightens me, because without that, we're moving very slowly toward 1984.
And so you're working on something that will assure our privacy.
Well, it will help ensure it. Nothing will guarantee it unless all of us come to the same conclusion. We will all have to stand up together at some point and say, look, I'm not taking any more of this. I want to be able to close my door and let no one hear or watch. Not because I'm doing something wrong, but because I like my individuality. And
okay, but it's one thing. It's one thing that, I can't imagine anybody listening to this interview today not nodding their head up and down and just ferociously agreeing with you. It's one thing to acknowledge the problem and to know how widespread and extensive it is, and also how dangerous it is. But what do we have to solve that problem?
Well, from my part, I'm creating a technology that can help solve that problem. I've developed a networking device that it has no screen. It's just a little box that you charge up and drop in a pocket. It communicates with your cell phone or your iPad or whatever tablet device you use, or even your laptop. And it turns those devices into two things. It turns them into what they used to be, which is connecting up to the Internet whenever they want. Mm-hmm. And the other half of it is, if you choose, you click one of the buttons on the app interface, and suddenly you're now in a completely private world. And that private world is the world that I have created through a localized, completely floating and constantly in flux network where no one can see what you're doing because no one knows who you are. You could be wandering through the college campus, for example, and passing a file or receiving a file from someone. You have no clue who you got the file from. The person you got the file from has no clue even that someone had asked for that file. You have just merely placed a bunch of data in a public area available for anyone. Whoever gets it, there's no record and there is no ID.
Wow. So this is something that is brand new. I'm going to say it gives anonymity over the Internet. And not only that, it's something that desperately every one of us who's using the Internet, which is everybody, is going to need. We have to take another break, but we're going to come right back and find out more about this privacy technology, because I think everybody needs to hear about this, and we want to know some more. You're listening to the Costa Report.
This concludes part 2 of Rebecca's interview with software giant John McAfee. Log on for part 3 and get your copy of Rebecca's book, The Watchman's Rattle, at RebeccaCosta.com or your favorite bookseller today.